Aloha, y'all. It is Wednesday, Woden's Day, named after Odin. Wednesday, Woden. It is the 16th of July, Odin's Day, and it is esoterically ruled by Mercury. The sun is in Cancer, the moon is in Aries. We'll reference the astrology as we go. But let's go ahead and show you the cards I pulled. So we've got the Three of Swords. Wah, wah. We've got the Seven of Pentacles with little gremlins. And then for the wild card, we've got the Divine Animal Oracle. Number 4, the Owl Wisdom. So, the swords, Three of Swords. If you're an air sign, you're a sword of the mind. Geminis, Libras, and Aquarius. And this is as follows. Freedom arrived at through despair, questioning everything and asking quality questions. Life is cruel and without meaning. On page 126, Three of Swords, I see life as cruel and meaningless, which can be very freeing at a level from the 0 point. Seeing a world which appears to be cruel and uncompromising can bring us to a point of despair. The feels, Sun and Cancer. In the Three of Swords, a young man sits with his head down. We can feel his sense of deep sadness. I imagine him as a street artist expressing his anguish through his art, which appears behind him on the wall. The head of the floating surreal figure is a mask of shame, which is a medieval torture device worn for the purpose of public humiliation and rejection. Throughout history, people have been forced to display a mark of shame, a stigma, to deter others, whether it's the mark of Cain and Abel, Cain, or the Scarlet Letter, or Game of Thrones, shame, shame. Like, this is how it works sometimes in cultures. This taps into something very primal. In early humans, where survival was intimately linked with collaboration, to be rejected by your tribe was effectively a death sentence. In later cultures, artists, writers, intellectuals, anyone who dared to think differently, admit a different sexual orientation, risked being shamed and outcast. The violence and suffering human beings can inflict on other humans, and indeed all living creatures, beggars belief, and yet it exists and cannot be ignored. Moon and Aries, which is also, the moon is conjunct Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Aries. It's like we can do very hurtful things to ourselves and others without even realizing it. Three swords are propped up against the wall. One of them looks like it's falling against the sitting figure. These swords appear as if they've been carelessly left behind by their owners. As objects, they are crafted pieces of metal sitting against the wall, yet, in the hands of men, they can cause unimaginable suffering. The hawk and the feather remind us of the possibility of freedom, even in the face of despair. The dripping heart, painted almost as an afterthought, communicates that only through love, the heart, North Node in Pisces, can we be liberated from the burdens of existence. The luminous fetus offers hope of rebirth, which awaits within the darkest depths. Pluto retrograding in Aquarius, trining Uranus and Gemini. This fullness of being can only be reached when we are able to touch our deepest sorrow. The roughly painted question mark gives us a sign, or a clue as to how we can transform our reality by asking questions. Mars and Virgo, Uranus and Gemini, Venus and Gemini. The Three of Swords suggests that quality of your life experience is directly proportional to the quality of the questions you ask. And so another interpretation of their figure emerges as one who, like Buddha, sits determined to penetrate the truth. He will not move from his spot until he has an answer. Many spiritual teachings describe how we must go down through layer after layer of our personality until we get to the last layer and fall through it into a meaningless and empty space. But if we are able to fall yet further into the darkness of meaninglessness, we arrive at nothing. And from nothing, we can create anything. It's the I am energy, right? The 0 point. This card tells us our sorrow must be acknowledged. The despair is something we all share. When we see how it carries the seeds of new growth, we can surrender to it, allowing it to move through us and transform us. So freedom arrived at through despair, questioning everything, asking quality questions. Life is cruel and without meaning. And existentially speaking, if you know you have a blank slate, it creates a lot of freedom, but that can be very disconcerting. Right? We could say, oh, I thought I knew what I was. I thought I knew where I was going. Don't lose heart. You're being reborn. You have to go to the bottom to get to the top. It's like a sine wave, a heartbeat. Summer, winter, summer. And honestly, sitting still and taking some deep breaths and getting into yourself quietly is a way to quiet the mind and not lose your mind, essentially, because if you get into your heart and know that it's all a gift of consciousness, essentially in a holographic game, you approach it a little differently. So the clarifying card is the Seven of Pentacles. If you are an earth sign, you are a pentacle, so Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And this is with little gremlins in the machinery, right? On page 174, Seven of Pentacles, I am carefully bringing things to life. The patience and kindness required to grow and sustain a life of value and beauty. Sun in Cancer. Mars in Virgo, right? Jupiter in Cancer. So we're doing the great work. We're always moving in some direction, even if the hub of the wheel, the hub of the cog, feels like it's stuck. That's a season of life we can get into. It's part of the story. You're never off track, even though it can feel in your mind like you are. And there's beauty in the resets, right? The rebirth, the renaissance comes from a death. But even that is part of a story of becoming. It's part of the great work, alchemically speaking. So the last card we've got comes from the Divine Animal Oracles deck. She's been on my podcast. He's been on my podcast. Check out the podcast. 320 episodes. I'll post it in the comments. We've got number 4, the Owl, Wisdom. The Dome of the Wiz, as Frank Zappa would say. So on page 23, like the number 23, Jim Carrey movie. Number 4, Owl, Wisdom. Open your eyes and see what is really there, right? Which can be very disconcerting, but we can't lose heart. We must see how things are, gremlins and all, disappointments and loss as much as gain and advancement. So open your eyes and see what is really there. Look for the whole truth, as you may only be seeing a part of the whole. Through experience, we can gain the wisdom to not make the same mistakes again. Develop your learning and intelligence, as education is never wasted. Negotiation is better than attack. With the moon in Aries, we could feel kind of antsy right now. Mercury and Leo, we're like, I'm going to fight for me. I got to do me. Oh, where am I? Who am I? The Sun and Jupiter in Cancer are saying, just chill, kid. And Mars in Virgo and Venus in Gemini, Uranus and Gemini are like, start getting at new protocols in terms of how to operate. Update your software. The use of owl magic is an ancient practice. The energy is used in many cultures. Use owl magic when you seek wisdom in a situation or perhaps you are not seeing the whole truth and wish to do so. Owl magic is helpful when you cannot make a decision or when you need to take a rational view on an emotionally charged situation. And, oops, just touched the light. What we can do sometimes is feel overwhelmed and like it's meaningless. We have to get to this place and start asking, who am I? What is it? Is that true? That's part of the work, which leads to what? Wisdom. The beginning of wisdom comes through knowledge and failed knowledge, right? Oh my gosh, I thought it was this. We can't lose heart. We're always being reborn in the great work. And that creates diamonds. Diamonds are through heat and pressure, right? Wisdom is got through mistakes, through failure, through success, through both, right? So don't lose heart. Don't give up. Sit at the Buddha tree. Be still and know. and that breakthrough will come through. Break on through to the other side, right? We'll break on through with a heart and we will be reborn. Always moving forward in the machination of reality, the great work. And wisdom comes from that process. So if you've enjoyed this, holler for a reading. 5-star reviews, top shelf shit. Also, obviously, leave a tip if you want, or tag people, share it, whatever's clever. An hour of cards is $50. 3 hours of astrology is $150. If it's your birthday, it's half off either or both of those. So that's a good deal. And then if you get somebody to come to me as a referral, you yourself get half off on cards. So check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. I'll post that in the comments. Holler for readings. Obviously, I'm here to help. We're all going through it. Everybody, whether you're an XRP owner going, why isn't this going to the moon? Or if you're a political person in North America saying, why are we going to go to a civil war maybe, or whatever? What's going on? And I said, hey, what's going on, right? We're being reborn. That's part of the system of reality that we're in, working through right now. But wisdom will come in ways you never expected if you open your heart and still your mind, and from that place, expand. So enjoy your Woden's Day, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Adios.